Welcome to the Musar Torah podcast for Parshas Yayishlach. Join us as we explore the weekly parsha, uncovering valuable insights and striving to become the best versions of ourselves through Musar teaching. This week we are going to explore one of the most dramatic scenes in the Torah, Yaakov's nighttime wrestling match with a mysterious being. There's a question being asked during this encounter that reveals something profound about how we should approach our own struggles in life. The answer to this question has guided Jewish survival for millennia, and it offers us crucial wisdom for navigating our own challenges today. The parsha begins with Yaakov preparing to meet his brother Eisav after many years apart. There was, of course, that small matter of Eisav wanting to kill Yaakov. The Ramban on Perek Lamed Gimel Pasuk Tesvav tells us something fascinating. Rabbi Yanai would specifically learn this parsha before he needed to deal with the Roman authorities. Why would a great sage prepare for political negotiations by studying Yaakov's encounter with Eisav? We'll return to that question. Before the brothers meet, something extraordinary happens. Yaakov wrestles throughout the night with a being that our tradition understands to be the angel of Eisav, a representative of his brother's spiritual essence. At the end of this intense struggle, Yaakov asks a seemingly simple question. The Torah tells us in Bereshis Perek Lamed Beis Pasuk Lamed, Vayomer Lama Zeh Tishal Lishmi Vayavarich Oso Sham. And he said, "Why do you ask me my name?" And he blessed him there. Think about this for a moment. Yaakov had just wrestled all night with this mysterious figure. He's been wounded in the struggle. Now at daybreak he wants to know, "Who are you? What's your name?" And the response he receives is strange. "Why do you ask my name?" Rashi provides a comment that transformed this entire encounter. He explains the angel's response. "We do not have fixed names. Our names changed based on the situation." This is puzzling. What kind of answer is that? If anything, it makes the angel seem more mysterious, not less. Why wouldn't Yaakov press further? Why does the Torah consider this a satisfactory response? Rabbi Yecheskel Weinfeld Shlita offers an insight that completely reframes not just this story, but the entire Jewish experience throughout history. He explains that throughout our long exile, the Jewish people have repeatedly tried to understand the identity of the nations around us. We have analyzed their cultures, studied their values, adapted to their customs, all in the hope that if we could just figure them out, we could successfully integrate into their societies and finally find acceptance. Here's what Rabbi Weinfeld reveals. The hatred directed toward the Jewish people has never been about any of our actual traits or behaviors. Think about this carefully. The socialists hated us because they claimed we are the capitalists. The capitalists hated us because they saw us as socialists. We've been condemned for not integrating enough into society and simultaneously attacked for integrating too much. We have been criticized for being too insular and then accused of controlling everything when we succeed in the broader world. The angel's response, "Our names change based on the situation," captures this perfectly. Just like the angel has no fixed identity, the accusations against us have no fixed essence. They shift and transform based on whatever is convenient at the moment. We don't integrate enough? That's the problem. We integrate too much? That's also the problem. We're too poor? We're a burden. We're too successful? We're a threat. We keep to ourselves? We're clannish. We participate in society? We're taking over. The specific accusation doesn't matter because it was never really about us. It's about the accuser's need for a target, and that target's name changes based on the situation. This brings us back to Rabbi Yanai studying this parsha before dealing with Roman authorities. He wasn't trying to understand what the Romans wanted from him so he could give it to them. He was studying Yaakov's encounter to remember the fundamental truth. You cannot win by trying to satisfy the ever-changing demands of those who oppose you. Yaakov asks for the angel's name, and the angel essentially responds, "You're asking the wrong question." The question isn't, "Who are you?" The question is, "Who am I?" Notice what happens immediately after this exchange. The angel blesses Yaakov. But what blessing? Later in the chapter, Yaakov receives a new name, Yisrael. That's the blessing. Not information about his opponent, but a clarity about his own identity. Rabbi Weinfeld's teaching crystallizes this beautifully. Our role throughout history has not been to understand the essence of the host nation, but to understand our own essence, to understand what the name Yisrael represents. When we are secure in our own identity, when we we know who and what we stand for, the shifting accusations of others lose their power over us. We don't need to contort ourselves trying to satisfy criticism that will change tomorrow anyway. This doesn't mean we should be inflexible or refuse to learn from others. It means we need to operate from a foundation of knowing who we are rather than consistently redefining ourselves based on external pressure. How does this ancient encounter speak to our lives today? First, let's all recognize when we are caught in the trap of trying to satisfy ever-changing external expectations. Maybe it's work, where the standards seem to shift constantly and you can never be getting it quite right. Maybe it's in a relationship where no matter what you do, the complaints keep changing. Maybe it's in your community where you're criticized from multiple contradictory directions. When you find yourself in that position, ask yourself, am I trying to figure out their name, what they really want from me? Or am I clear about my name, my own values and identity? Second, invest time in understanding your own essence. What do you stand for? What are your non-negotiables? What does your name, your core identity represent? For us as Jews, this means deepening our understanding of what Yisrael means. It means Torah study, connection to our Masorah, and a clarity about our mission in the world. It means knowing that we are not just reacting to others' expectations, but living out an identity that precedes and transcends any particular historical moment. Third, practice responding to shifting criticism the way the Malach blessed Yaakov, by strengthening your own identity rather than by endlessly defending yourself. When you are clear about who you are, criticism becomes information rather than an identity crisis. The Malach's response wasn't a brush-off. It was actually a profound teaching, and that's why it's considered a bracha. By refusing to give a fixed name, the Malach was teaching Yaakov and us that we'll never find security in understanding them. Security comes from understanding ourselves. This is what Rabbi Yanai learned before facing the Romans. This is what sustained our people throughout millennia of exile. This is what can sustain each of us through our own personal struggles with external pressures and criticisms. Yaakov walked away from that encounter with a limp. The struggle left its mark. He knew, however, he also walked away with a new name and a new understanding. He stopped asking, why do they oppose me? And started living the answer to, who am I? The wrestling match in this parsha isn't just about Yaakov's story. It's our story, repeated in different forms throughout our lives and throughout Jewish history. We will face opposition. We will encounter those whose accusations shift and change. We will be tempted to exhaust ourselves trying to figure out what they really want, believing that if we can just understand them well enough, we can finally satisfy them and find peace. However, the Torah teaches us differently. The angel's name changes with the situation because that's the nature of opposition. It's not really about anything fixed or rational. Our task is not to understand the essence of those who oppose us, but to understand and live our own essence. When we are rooted in our identity as Yisrael, as angel wrestlers who have transformed the struggle into blessing, we can face any opponent with integrity and strength. This week, let's all challenge ourselves to redirect our energy, less time analyzing what they want, more time understanding who we are and what we stand for. That's where real strength lies. That's the source of true blessing. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Musar Torah podcast. Until next time, may we all merit to live with clarity about our own essence, and may that clarity give us strength for whatever challenges we face. Have a good Shabbos.